Hello, everyone. Welcome to Getting Started with Metasploit Pro in 10 minutes or less. I am here on the Metasploit Pro landing page. This is where everyone begins. If you have just downloaded Pro, very likely don't even have a project in here. Everything inside of Metasploit Pro is project-based. If you would like to create a new project, you can go in to Create Project, add your network range, hit Create Project. And there you have an empty shell here where you can choose a bunch of different things to do inside of this project. You can start a scan, you can start an expo scan. If you have sonar data, you can import it here. If you'd like to do a brute force session, you can also do that. There are a bunch of different ways you can organize these projects as well. Folks sometimes create projects based upon certain geographic locations or certain hosts. You can have any project do anything that you would like in any sort of iteration. Now, the other way that you can create a project is by one of these features here. This is the quick pen test feature, and you can see here that it will ask you to create a project. This is going to use Nmap to scan whatever target addresses you give to it. You can configure the scan. You can also import a scan if you have one. There are a whole bunch of options here if you'd like to configure your scan. You can run exploits. This will essentially match up certain exploits to the scan that has been run, and you can choose the minimum rank of exploit. Here it's set to great. The minimum reliability will determine what happens to your system based upon what you choose here, but you can also decide to create an audit report that will give you the results of the scan and the exploits after they have been run. And to see what was or what was not successful, you will hit Start Scan. We can say Scan Demo here, hit Start Scan, and it will begin doing a quick pen test for you. Now, these can take, depending, anywhere up to a couple of minutes, an hour, to a couple of days, depending on just how big your environment is. This is running every exploit module we have with the configurations of what the scan eventually does find. So that is one way that you can start with Metasploit Pro. The other thing to note is that every time you complete some sort of action, it creates a task. See, the task is over here running. You can go to show tasks and you can see all of the things that you have done in this task list. You can go to show options and it will show you exactly what it is that you have done. This can be really useful in figuring out if something didn't work correctly, or if you want to replicate something, you can go here and see exactly what it was that you chose to do. Before I actually get any further, I will go back to home and click on this scan demo that we started with. So this is your project area. When you go to administration and you go to global settings, this is definitely recommended that you guys add. This will allow you to access the Metasploit framework, the Metasploit Pro console, but also essentially what amounts to something that looks exactly like Metasploit framework. So once you go into a project and you hit Control tilde, this will bring up for you, this may take a small moment, but this will bring up for you Metasploit console, and you can run whatever it is via the command line that you would like to. And this will show you all of the exploits that are inside of here, the version that this is on. This can also be really useful for debugging if that is something that you find yourself doing. All right, so one last thing about the items here on the home page. This is the vulnerability validation. If you have a Nextpost console, this is what will be super helpful for you. Vulnerability validation is essentially something very similar to Quick Pen Test, but Quick Pen Test is running an Nmap scan, and vulnerability validation is going to use your Nextpost data. That is the big functional difference between these two things, because Metasploit Pro is running the same modules for both of these functions, but your data comes from two different sources. So with that, let's get into module content. Now, Metasploit Pro has meta modules. These are automated workflows that you can use to essentially set up in a similar way to quick pen test, and vulnerability validation is essentially a wizard. This ADCS workflows is the one that we have put out this year, and it will go through after you set a Active Directory domain and input a username and password. Will go through and run through all of the most common Active Directory misconfigurations that you may have, and different things that you might possibly be able to remediate, whether it's a misconfiguration in your domain controller, etc. And you can also choose what you would like for post exploitation if you want to get a TGT, or if you'd like to try and open an LDAP session. You can do both, one or both of those, and then it will generate a report for you, which also involves any kind of remediation steps and hardening techniques. We really tried to put a whole lot in here in order to help you as much as possible with being able to successfully harden your Active Directory environments. And so that is definitely another thing that we do here inside Pro. If you would like to search for a specific module, there's something that you're looking for here, instance, you can absolutely search by that. And there are now two ways you can search. So if you'd like to see sort of this table view, but if you'd like to see a card view of some more information, such as the side effects, like right up front, this also search will search actions and targets. So if you're looking for it to do a specific action, you can also find in here that enum, if you want to search like a specific action here. All of these modules have enumeration as an action. And then the last thing that I want to show you is task chains. Task chains are basically putting all of the power of Metasploit Pro and allowing you to chain all of these things. You can configure them all and chain them all together. And you can essentially ask this module to do all of these things, create a report for you, and you can ask it to do it on a schedule. Now, that can be super useful if there are certain functions that you'd like to perform sort of on a regular basis, or you do monthly. And you'd like to compare the results of those things. Metasploit Pro will absolutely do all of those things for you. Thank you so very much, folks, for listening to this demo of Metasploit Pro in 10 minutes or less. Thanks.